Hey everyone, this is Dan, the GM, bringing you episode 159 of What the Dice. Well, the team is getting ready to take a short break, but don't fear, I will have more episodes coming out, so you will have all the What the Dice you could handle. If you want more What the Dice, you can join our Patreon, you can join our Discord, you can find us on Twitter. All those links and more are over on whatthedice.weebly.com. Come out there, click on some links, join our Discord, and I would love to meet you. Wow, that's all I got. I'm going to shut up and let you get on with this week's episode. I'm Dan the GM, this is What the Dice, and you are awesome. It was late afternoon when we finally got back from our last mission. Something simple, an escort mission down to Hold's Keep. It was quiet enough, but there is definitely a tension in the air. We'd only been gone for a couple of days, and the village here is quiet. The air is thick and you can feel the tension. But people continue to live their lives, even though the rumors of war have gotten louder. Town criers are now calling out about how armies are being moved, and there is now a push for adventurers to take up arms and help. But we want to help in a different way. Help keep things as stable as we can. We make our way down to the storyteller's campsite. It's quiet down here. The fire is not lit. We can hear the ocean off in the distance. The air has got a warmness to it. We look over, and the storyteller is sitting, idly flipping through the pages.
Well, me friends, it seems as if the mood around here has gotten rather dark and don't want to say depressing, but I have seen happier faces in the cemetery. War is not good for anyone. Well, unless you're a weapons merchant, but other than that, war's never a way to solve problems. It's the way the greedy and the power-hungry assert themselves. But speaking of greedy and power-hungry, the adventurers, Kalila and Amphibolus, had put down Varric once again. In tow of that, taking out the sheriff and the deputy again. Seems as if some of the worst and most vile creatures seem to find a way to pop up and cause problems. Well, this problem led to our adventurers being lost in the desert expanse, not knowing which way the closest town is or how they'll get through the night. Well, let us continue our tale. So sit back, relax, and hear me tale.
In the last episode, you guys finally defeated this strange tank, and the sheriff and the deputy, both the sheriff and the deputy, are dispatched, and one was eaten by the strange burrowing sandworms, and the last shot rang out, striking Varric after he appeared after combat ended. We come back, and the carriage that you were in is missing an entire wheel and is flipped over. You guys have landed relatively unscathed, covered in sand, and that eerie feeling of there's another burrowing sandworm somewhere in this sand. What would you guys like to do?
Well, We're in the sands.
Mm-hmm.
Kalila's going to keep a very keen eye. One, to make sure the brother isn't going to stand back up suddenly, because she doesn't trust it. But two, to look for any movement as to where the sandworm might be.
All right. Perception check.
Nat 20. Opening
As
with
you-
a nat 20.
As you look around, you can see the handful of tunnels that were left by the ones that ran off. And then you see one that looks like it is circled around the engine that the brother was in before it just dives deep, disappearing into the expanse of sand.
So it looks gone.
It looks like it left.
She'll look at Defibulus. You see the sandworm anywhere?
He's actually checking on the driver.
Oh, did you already walk back over?
I thought we hadn't left the...
Oh, he got dragged off by the horse.
Yeah, he's not around.
Oh, I thought it flipped in like they were wrecked.
No, because of the way the carriage was set up, once that back tire broke, it broke off the supports, which dragged him off and left you guys in the carriage to be flipped.
Okay. I thought differently. Yeah, Defibulus is gonna go make sure the brother is dead.
Well, Kalila's gonna put a paw on Defibulus going, we need to make sure that sandworm is gone before we go out there.
Nope, I'm making sure my brother's dead first.
You want to fight a sandworm?
I'd rather fight the sandworm than have to deal with my brother for a third time, because every time he comes back, he brings up something bigger.
She'll follow him, but keep a very keen ear and eye on the ground with Hugin close behind for tremor sensing.
Okay. As you approach this massive tank thing, the engine is still chugging away, producing energy, but it is not moving. As you peer inside, you can see the deputy slumped over the wheel. You can see the fuel gauges are running low, and you see that they still had several cannon shots left. To Fibulus, these cannon shots are different than what you're used to seeing. They look like they are self-contained, where you can load the ball and it actually has the black powder and everything pre-set up. The gauges are clockwork in nature, but have a advanced feel to them. The leather that's the seats seems to be made from a leather that is a green hue. The sheriff's body is nowhere to be found, and neither is his weapon. You do see that there is some spare revolver ammo sitting on the floor. Would you like to... Go ahead.
I was going to say, Defibulus, putting that aside, he's going to find where his brother's body is first.
Give me a climb check. Or a climb skill.
19.
You're able to get up there with some difficulty. Finally pulling yourself up, you look down and you can see your brother's body has flipped back and his hand is mere millimeters away from a large red button. He is bled out and you can see the strange clockwork arm is still clicking like it is still active, but you see no power emanating from the strange antennae that's on the shoulder. His eyes are blank and staring up at the sky. You see some black coloration under his eyes, and in the eyes itself, the white of the eye seems to have a tinge of blackened to it. The rifle by his hand has turned to ash and is slowly disappearing.
He's going to move the brother's hand away from that giant red switch.
Okay.
Then poke him in the face with the barrel of his gun.
There is no movement.
Grab a rope. I want to pull his body out of here and throw it in the sand and set it on fire, blow it up or something.
We have that C4, if she tosses up a rope.
Thought we used that all.
No, we still have 2 bricks.
Yeah. Could have thrown a brick at him.
You know, I did think about that, but I thought these things had to be, like, specially detonated?
Yeah, I have a detonator.
Oh. Yeah, how do we want to make sure he doesn't come back this time?
Let me see one of those bricks.
In the bag of holding.
He will get a rope, drag his brother's corpse out of there, make sure to avoid the big red switch.
Okay.
Drag it out in a good ways away from the tank thing, and tie a brick of C4 with a detonator or two attached to it.
Okay.
Then get to a safe distance, mutter a really obnoxious gnomish insult and a couple more insults directly at his brother, and then blow him up.
There is a large explosion sound as the sound of just viscera, bones, metal, and sand just rain down from, well, the crater that is now sitting there. It is a long moment as the smoke clears and you just see the little hole where the body once was. There's a hiccupy chug sound as the strange tank that was theirs finally ran out of power and goes dark.
Kalila would have assisted him during this entire thing, by the way. Helping drag the body, set it up. She supports Fibulus in his brotherly Haiti ways.
As you look out, you can see that it is near dusk.
What would Kalila know about surviving out here in the desert plains?
In the desert plains, during the day, it is hot and ungodly hot. Like, you want to have a covered wagon or continue to move so you have wind and plenty of water. At night, it gets frigid cold. So having a tent that is designed to withstand near 0 degree or finding a nice cave is always a good option.
Any nearby caves?
Give me a roll. Survival.
26.
You find a small one that is kind of where a dune has blown over the back of it. It doesn't go very deep, but it goes deep enough to where you would be away from the elements, and no one passing or nearby would see a campfire.
That's all right. Let's get everything we can out of this, motioning to the carriage. Let's check the deputy. If I remember right, he might have some potions on him. And I think I saw some extra ammo clip things of yours. And we'll head over to that cave and get some shelter for the night. The desert gets just as hot during the day as it does get as cold at night. We're going to want to build a fire and get warm.
Inside the cabin, you find a couple pieces of ammo for Defibulus. You find a repeating crossbow with 5 clips. You also find about 3 more bombs. You find 3 potions of moderate wounds, cure moderate wounds, 1 of cure serious wounds.
Did Defibulus say anything back for the shelter stuff?
Nope, he is currently not paying attention to a word she's saying.
Can she tell?
Oh, very clearly.
Even though he just finished blowing up his brother?
Yep, he's still staring at the crater and viscera of his brother.
She'll come over, you okay?
No one should have to kill a family member twice.
Let's just hope it doesn't become a 3rd time.
Then again, you shouldn't have to kill your own family.
Yeah. His greed got the best of him.
Was the deputy's revolver still left?
Nope. He didn't have a revolver. He had a repeating crossbow.
Because, well, I can't seem to find, as she's looking around at the crater, anything left of him. I don't think he's going to come back a 3rd time this time.
I didn't think there was enough of him to come back from the last time.
Yeah, but we only ever found his arm. We never did find his body.
Yeah, this one had a weird clockwork arm with some type of weird sticky bit out of it.
Yeah, the electricity things.
Did my brother hate me that much just to come back just to try to kill me again?
I mean, you managed to find us and track us down and chased us through into a desert.
No, we never got along, and I thought he was a jerk, but I never wanted to hurt him.
He said the greed got the best of him. He wanted the family business and power to himself.
There were better ways he could have done it.
Yeah, like not murdering everybody?
For a start.
Well, if he was that evil, the world's better off without him, Defibulus. I'm sorry it was a family member, though.
Still could have found better ways to deal with him. Or he could have found better ways to deal with this problem.
I don't know why people do what they do. But come on, let's head to that cave and get some shelter. It's gonna get really cold out here.
He will follow.
She'll get a campfire going, get their bedrolls out.
As it gets darker, there is a strange wind that howls in, and there is a large, massive shadow that kind of steps into the cave. There's a moment, and then you see tusks and a robe that is very familiar.
Tusks and a robe?
Yes. You would recognize it from a painting.
What painting?
The necromancer from the heroes has entered the cave.
Auric?
Yes.
Oh, his ears will perk up and she goes, Auric?
He nods and he reaches into his pocket and pulls out a small box. He quietly nods. He goes,
I forgot to give you this.
How did you find us?
he just smiles. He goes,
Tracking was a specialty of mine. And with the penchant of most adventurers, I just looked for the most damage in a single area.
Fair.
Oh, if you're heading back down, if you find a way to drag that, whatever that machine is with you, you should. Probably be useful for your people.
he looks back and nods. He goes,
I will send a few skeletons to acquire it. But I believe I owed you your box, and I had forgotten to give it to you. I wanted to ensure it got to you.
I appreciate it.
he looks back and nods.
I've never seen a machine of that design. It's dangerous looking.
She goes, you're a necromancer, right?
He nods.
How can you ensure something doesn't come back from the dead?
And
He gives a light chuckle. He goes,
Well, it depends on the type of necromancy you use. I myself prefer to use more summonation of servitude. I do not summon things that I view as shields without a soul. They are just mindless abominations bound by threads of magic to be puppeteered. If you speak of the creatures that are in the caves, they are soul-bound. They signed a contract with me, giving me access to their soul after they are gone. Their bones are replaceable. Their bodies, temporary. When their bodies are fully destroyed, they turn into a orb of light, and then they return to me. Once they return, I help recraft the bone to be a body. So to completely destroy a soul is near impossible. Why do you ask?
that giant crater was where my brother was. This is the second time we've killed him now. And We don't want him coming back a third time.
He nods.
Also, the sheriff and the deputy. Although the one got eaten.
He looks over at the sheriff and the deputy, or the deputy's body, and walks over. Comes back a moment or two later.
The one you call deputy, his soul is bound to that body. It was he will not be able to be returned. He is stuck there, motionless, to watch the world change around him and watch his body decay. It is a curse for failure. The one that was eaten is probably under the same curse. As for the body of the brother, the crater, I sense powerful magic about, but I sense no soul, and there are no body pieces to deliberate on. I cannot say that that soul is gone, but it is not around, and it shows no signs that it stayed.
So to be determined if that one comes back.
Correct. The other two, well, the one that is still there, his soul is bound to this place for all eternity. I wanted to ensure that my end of the promise was fixed.
We appreciate that.
He nods.
I'm actually a little shocked we managed to leave without it.
It was, from what Everest told me, it was a rushed decision. But I'm glad we were able to get this to you.
As he turns, you can see that there are motes of light that are starting to exit him as he bows.
Safe travels, adventurers.
As he steps out into the moonlight, he slowly disappears, leaving you in this cave with a campfire and the wind howling outside.
Kalila will look over at Defibulus, kind of expecting him to at least open the box like he's done before every time he's found the piece.
He'll open and confirm that it is the piece.
As you open up the box, you see a ornate-looking magazine designed to hold 2 shots in a single placement. Looks like you house about 20 shots, 10 on each side. It is carved and ingrained with different symbols of different elements. You see no screw holes, no springs, no nothing. It looks as if the bullets that are in there are held up by magic. There's this slight blue glow that comes from the inside. And you see a small locking mechanism on the back of it, which is usually reserved for when the clip is fully inserted into a magazine, or a clip is fully loaded into a rifle. It is sitting there, and it's got a slight warm feel to it.
Yes, I would say I'd put the pieces together, but I don't have the tool bench, and I'm not even sure how these all connect together.
Well, there was the one time it just attached itself. Why not see if it does it again?
Chippy will fumble around in his bag and pull out the other recovered parts and see if it connects to the rest of it.
As you pull out the stock with the trigger attached, it begins to pulse red and blue, where the lines that normally would be seen on a standard rifle would be seen. The magazine begins to pulse red and blue in the same sequence. They begin to pulse faster and faster until the whole cave begins to glow with this purple hue. After a moment, the rifle begins to leave your hand and starts to float and click into place. Once it's done, there's a quick flash of light as the stock, trigger, and clip, merged as one, drop into Defibulus's hands.
Kalila will sit back and watch this happen again, remembering it also happened last time, but it was green. She goes, this time the colors changed. If I remember correctly, it was more green that God spelled. This time it turned purple.
Not a clue as to what that means.
Whatever it is, this legendary family gun of yours, it's magical. I've never seen something assemble itself like that.
Kind of takes the fun out of it.
Yeah, but at least it assembles itself and you don't need the bench at home that you have. You need to learn to make a mobile version of your workbench.
That would be useful.
So do you want first watch or do you want me to have first watch?
I'll take first watch.
She figured as such, considering you're probably still all worked up. Alright, well, then wake me up and then we'll head out in the morning and try and find our way home. Well, or to see if this is an open enough place to try and summon death. If I'm saying that, summon death in the morning. Just shakes her head and goes to try and sleep.
Defibulous, it's a quiet night. You can watch as the night creatures begin to hunt. The wind is brutal and you can watch sand be kicked up constantly. At some point at night, you hear the sounds of bones rattling as you watch and you peer out and you see strange skeletons with the same golden crowns and circlets as the ones from the Rat Kingdom begin to come up and drag this strange vehicle away. At some point, it seems that they can't drag it any further and they begin to just disassemble it. Brute force disassemble it, but disassemble it. You sit back and watch the campfire and the night sky slowly fade as it becomes the end of your watch. What would you like to do?
Fabulous at the end of his watch will yawn, get up, poke at Kalila.
She'll get up. She goes, your turn to sleep?
Mm-hmm.
She'll nod, let him lay down, and take watch. Eat a ration or two.
As you are snacking on your ration and watching the night slowly play out, you see those momentary glints of light as comets whiz past the sky. You can watch the night sky. You do recognize that there are fewer stars in the night sky than you're used to seeing. But you also can't remember the last time you had a chance to just sit in peace and quiet. The desert sounds of night seem to drown out the chaos that you've been dealing with for this last adventure.
She will enjoy the peace and quiet.
As night turns to dusk, you seem to have nodded off for but a moment, and when you look, there is a gorgeous light shining from the distance, and you can see what looks like some kind of canyon off in the distance. And you see every now and then these glints of the morning's rays of hitting different stones that are embedded in the walls. Sometimes you'll see glints of blues and greens as the semi-precious stones that have been mined from these walls catch those morning sunlights as it becomes morning.
She'll cook up some breakfast and wake up Defibulous.
Defibulous will slowly wake up. He's like, are we under attack?
She goes, no, but breakfast is ready.
Is the breakfast under attack?
Soon to be if you eat it.
Fair. He'll yawn, groggily get up.
As you sit and have breakfast, you can already feel the desert heat starting to slip into the cooler cave. You douse your fires and put things as they were before you arrived, and you step out into the scorching sun. Kalila, I need a perception check.
28.
28. As you look around, you see this butterfly that is not native to this area, and it is fluttering slowly towards the canyon.
She will definitely take note of that. Look at Defibrius going, ready to head out?
I suppose.
So, we've done weirder things. She'll point out the butterfly. She goes, I think we need to head into the canyon.
Does he see a butterfly?
Yes.
I do actually see a butterfly. That's surprising.
Because butterflies were the things that I followed out of my village and eventually ran into you. I take it as a sign to follow. Instead of going towards the grasslands, as she kind of makes a head nod towards what would be north, she will nod at the butterfly, going, I think we need to go to the canyons.
I think most people would also take that butterfly as if it follows the same track of you running into me and all that, I'll go run screaming the other way.
She goes, nah, we're in it too deep. To the canyon?
Yeah, probably a good idea.
Nod and follow the butterfly, hoping to, maybe it's telling her which way they need to go to, since their quest now is to summon death.
As you follow the path that the butterfly flew, you start to realize as you look around that you're in the center of the desert, and the only place that there would be shade is in this canyon. You also can hear the drips of water as condensation has built up on the stone. Entering into this area, it is immensely cooler. Out in the direct sun, you could feel the fatigue just wear into you within minutes. Being in this area, it's cooler, and you can feel the slight breeze that helps keep the temperature maintained. Looking around, you see small animal and plant life that has started to survive in this area. Kalila, I need a knowledge local.
I have knowledge local, geography, nature.
Give me either local or geography, whichever one is higher.
Geography it is. 14.
You know with a 14 that if you were where you thought you were in the center of the desert, it would be a multiple day travel in any direction in direct sunlight to get to the grasslands. You also know that this canyon is one of the few canyons that actually stretches almost the full length of the desert. You remember hearing that traders used to use this to get through the desert because it is the only area where the heat is not unbearable.
All right. She goes, well, it's a good thing we followed the butterfly to the canyon. We are at least 2 or 3 days in any direction away from grasslands through just pure sand and dunes and heat. If we can navigate through the canyon and maybe find one of the old trade routes, depending on which way, she tries to locate which way is north, we can either come out at the base of the mountain, which ironically is where we fought Argaroth, or we can come out on the northeast side of the mountains on the other side of the continent, but it's at least coastal and not unbearably hot.
Why did the merchants and all that stop coming through here?
I don't know if they necessarily stopped coming through here, or it was because roads were built and they decided to take the longer roads. Or the orcs came down from the mountains that are around the southern part of the canyon and the eastern part of the canyon and disrupted them. But I don't know why they necessarily stopped using them, but they used to use them because this was the only way to get through the desert. Would she actually know why they stopped using the roads?
Thinking back on why the traders stopped, it was because traveling through the desert became too dangerous, even coming through here. if you had sudden rainstorms or flash flooding, which sometimes deserts have, these canyons would fill up and make it very difficult to traverse without risking losing materials. With the roads, that also meant more villages and towns were starting to pop up. The roads themselves are also more maintained. They're more cobblestone than trying to trudge through sand and dirt.
Okay, so the reasons that she stated.
Yes.
Okay.
As you begin to trunk through the canyon, the wind begins to pick up. And it is a harsh desert wind, which has the grating sand that blasts with it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Defibulus. Didn't we get some kind of survival desert stuff from the Godsfeld?
He starts digging in his bag, and he's like, oh, is that where that went? No, that's not it.
You did get some desert survival equipment, which is mostly like tents and stuff like that.
Okay, I didn't know if it was clothing or...
There are some goggles, and there is mostly like thermal tents. But they are like plastic goggles just to keep sand from blasting you in the eyes.
Is that a current issue since we're in a canyon, or is it just windy?
There is some wind picking up some sand, but not a whole lot. It will continue to get worse just based on where you're at, though.
All right.
Topanga goes, yep, found it.
Oh, good. Anything useful in them?
Yeah, some tents that'll keep the temperature right, some goggles so that you don't sandblast your eyeballs out.
Well, you have your goggles. She'll reach out a paw. Let me have one of those.
I'll hand her a
I
pair.
feel like I'm constantly squinting.
Put your goggles on.
Put her goggles on. But while they're meandering aimlessly through the canyon at the moment, unless there's still a butterfly that she can follow, she's going to be relying on her hunter survival-y ways to try and find one of the old trade routes. That way they can figure which way to go towards civilization to get out of the canyon.
As you start to go left and right and leaving claw marks on different points so that you can kind of keep track of where you are and haven't been, the wind begins to pick up and it begins to turn into a mini sandstorm. And during the sandstorm, you can feel the flecks of sand pushing through your fur to where it's kind of this uncomfortable stinging. Then there is this momentary reprieve as you see this gorgeous butterfly fly down from the top edge of the canyon and starts to flap and fly its way towards what looks like an outcropping. This outcropping is near a fork in the road, one that you look and you can see down the pathway, and you see that it is just riddled with old carts that have been damaged, and you can see that it is a dead end. The other one seems to disappear into a sandstorm. But right in front of you, there is this strange little alcoving, and you can hear the rattle of rattlesnakes. And the butterfly just kind of lands there.
I'm gonna go check that out really quick, Defibulus.
Don't get bit by the things making the noise.
They're just snakes.
Isn't that bad when they make noise?
It's typically a warning of get away. She'll pull out the flying broom and fly over the snakes to not disturb them.
No, they are the rattling sounds coming from the little alcove in the wall.
Oh, okay, so they're not on the path.
No.
She'll go over there, see if she can see what the butterfly landed on and what's in the area.
All right, you look and it looks like they have landed on a small outcropping of stone, and it is just sitting there, wings fluttering like butterflies would do. And you can look inside and you can see that there are some viper snakes and some rattlers that have coiled up to protect themselves from the sandstorm that is slowly kicking up. Roll me a perception check.
Wow, I actually rolled pretty decent on that. 40.
With a 40, you see the glint of something. Something glass? Looks like it might have been in a box at some point.
All right. Snakes.
But there's a reflection of a gemstone or glass or something of that high polished caliber.
Lila's head's gonna tilt to the side as she's trying to figure out what exactly is in there. And you said there was snakes in the way?
Yep, there are snakes in there.
She actually has speak with animal.
Okay.
So, her cat-like curiosity of something shiny in a crevice with snakes in the way, she's gonna cast speak with animal and see if she can ask the snakes to either politely get out of her way and let them know, hey, I'm not here to hurt you, snakes. I'd like to get that shiny thing that's behind you.
A couple of the snakes look at you, cock their heads to the side, and kind of slither out of the way, and leave you just enough space to reach your arm in and grab whatever this strange, reflective material is.
She'll reach her arm in there. She goes, thank you. I promise only to get the shiny object. She'll carefully grab it, but still, politely moving at a not a slow pace, but not a rapid pace, so not to bother the snakes.
As you slowly pull the last bit of this strange piece of metal out, and you can see it, it's a tube with glass at both ends and strange little white indications that are around a strange spiral-like disc. You can feel this strange hum energy coming from it.
Tilt her head and turn back around going, hey, Defibulous,
Yes.
what do you think this is?
He'll come over and lift his goggles up so he can get a clear look at it.
As you look at it, you recognize it. You the black indications, you look close and you can see the embossment of a dragon's mouth that is open on one end. The small wings that are darkly painted and scratched in. The lens that has this strange dragon eye effect in the front. It's the scope of the dragon rifle.
Well, that's pretty damn impressive. You found the scope.
This is why I follow butterflies. She goes, did I seriously just find the scope of the dragon rifle?
I'm pretty sure you just did, yes.
We'll attach it.
Is this a good environment to attach it, or should I be in a sheltered environment?
Up to you.
Which, for once, Kalila has an eager, excited look of like, put it together, put it together, put it together. Like, her ears are straight up, staring at you with this glimmer, like, put it together.
He will see if he can attach it in the weather in the environment they're in.
As you pull the dragon rifle out of the bag, there's this, and the air around you goes still. You can see wind pelting and bouncing off of it as the scope starts to spread wings and get wider, and the dragon rifle begins to float, and they begin to slowly spin until they begin to slowly interlock. The colored hues this time is this beautiful gold that seems to make any reflective surface shine like high polished gold. There's a quick lock in place as the dragon rifle slowly floats back to your hands, and the strange energy bubble that has been produced begins to slowly fade away.
Kalila's tail is just waving very happily back and forth behind her.
Well, that was impressive.
Always trust a butterfly.
Don't trust a penguin, though, right?
No, don't trust the penguins. She goes, although I wonder, she looks around to see if the butterfly is still there.
The butterfly is gone.
I wonder if this would be a good little place to try and summon death. It seems uncorrupted and untouched by the bone god. And it seems kind of blessed to have your rifle here.
Are your little slithery, snaky friends going to object?
Look back down and go, hey, snakes. Care if we try and do some stuff here?
It doesn't seem like they are even reacting to your presence.
I don't think they care.
Yeah, we can try to summon death here.
Well, they did say to come out to where the corruption wasn't, and this seems like as good a place as any. So, she'll pull out one of the scrolls Everest gave her and open it up and read the instructions.
As you begin to open up the scroll, Defibulus, I need a Constitution check.
Like Fortitude Constitution or just Constitution?
Constitution.
So whatever I roll plus modifier?
Yep.
21.
You feel a sting of something in the back of your neck, and the world goes dark. Kalila, you hear the sound of a body thumping against the ground as you see Defibulus is laying face first in the sand.
You'll quickly close that scroll and go over to Defibulus, shaking, going, Defibulus?
As you call out his name, you feel a quick sting in your neck as the world fades out. Give me a Constitution saving throw real quick, though.
18.
You see nothing. In your darkened vision, you can feel something dragging you. You can feel the hot sand against your legs and back. And you can hear the sound of something talking. You don't recognize the language, but you definitely know you are being pulled somewhere. And as your consciousness fully fades out, we end this week's episode here.
Well, me friends, it seems as if Defibulus and Kalila got 2 pieces of the dragon rifle and had started to make their way slowly into safety. This cavern that this butterfly brought them to. It was safety until, well, we both know we don't know what's going on. But the adventurers have been captured by something or someone. Well, unfortunately, this is where the tale ends for now. For you see, my friends, the moon is high, and it is time for us to say farewell. But as always, me friends, may the dice gods bless your every roll. Soon.
We here at What the Dice would like to thank Paizo for creating Pathfinder, Epidemic Sound for our music, as well as Sirenscape for our sound effects. If you would like to reach out to us, you can do so on Facebook at What the Dice Pod, Twitter at What the Dice Pod, and of course email whatthedicepod@gmail.com. And if you liked our little adventure, please share us with your friends and rate and review us.